Devaki Nandanaya cha Nanda Gopa Kumaraya Govindaya Namo Namah. Hare Krishna. Welcome to this morning Srimad Bhagavatam class as well as part of Bhakti Bhagavad study for the 6th and 12th chapter. Today we are beginning with the 12th chapter. I'll just do a quick recap of the 11th chapter just to get the flow, and then we will begin with the 12th chapter. So, 11th chapter, which is titled as before we begin, we will recite the prayers to the Srimad Bhagavatam. Sarvashastra Piyusha Sarvavedeka Satpala Sarvasiddhanta Ratnatya Sarvaloke Kate Prabha Sarvabhagavata Pramana Srimad Bhagavata Prabho Kalidwanto Dityaditya Shri Krishna Parivartika Paramananda Pathaya Prema Varsha Aksharayate Sarvada Sarvasevyaya Shri Krishnaya Namostate Made Kabando Matsangin Madguru Madmahadana Madnistaraka Madbhagya Madananda Namostate Asadu sadhu dadayin Adini chochata kara Hana muncha kadachimma Premna ritkantayospura. So we yesterday discussed the 11th chapter, the transcendental qualities of Dhritarashtra. Seeing that all the weapons of the Danavas, the Asuras, were completely ineffective, the Asuras started running away. And then Dhritarashtra started rebuking his fellow men. Then, at the same time, the Devatas also started attacking these Asuras who were fleeing from the battlefield. So, seeing this, Vritrasura also started rebuking the demigods because they were not following military warfare. And then he started addressing, the warriors, and he himself started attacking with his roaring voice, attacking all the demigods. He was practically trampling them, just like somebody tramples the bamboos. And seeing this, Indra, threw his club. And Vritrasura just picked it from his left hand, which was the size of his finger, and hurled it back and at Ayavaravat, which went 14 yards away. And then Indra, at this point, Vritrasura starts chastising Indra. You are what? You are a Brahma. You're the killer of a Brahmana. You are Guru. You're the killer of a Guru. And you're a killer of my brother Pratraha. And you killed that self-realized Vishwarupa, who was a Dvija, who was a Guru, who was a Apapasya, who was Dikshitasya, who was appointed as your initiator of the Yajna. And very heavy, chastisement, Vritrasura does now. And he instills confidence in Indra that, use your thunderbolt because that is the will of Vishnu and it will not be ineffective. But Indra has doubts. What if, just like the mace, if he catches that and hurls back at me, I I'll be killed. So we can see here the faith between what is there in Indra and a pure devotee like Vritrasura. So this, seeing that nothing is working, then ultimately he turns to the lotus feet of the Lord. And in that meditation, the Lord appears and he offers these four beautiful prayers, which are the last four verses which we discussed yesterday. Not in the morning, in the afternoon we discussed. So there are four beautiful prayers which are called as the Bhava Shloki Bhagavatam, where the mood of Rudrasura is, exhibited. Now, firstly, Indra is confused and he has doubts whether, if I hurl the thunderbolt and what if he holds it and attacks me back. And after hearing these prayers of Vritrasura, Indra is now more confused. And now he has understood that, he's a pure devotee. How can I kill him? So he's gone into more confusion. And now Vritrasura is seeing that, hey, come on, do this activity because ultimately it is the will of the Lord. So he's not now able to execute his duty now because that how can I now kill? Dhritarashtra is such a pure devotee. So that are the thoughts which are happening with Indra now. And understanding these thoughts, uh, Sukadeva Goswami speaks. Shri Rishi Uvacha Evam Jihasurripadeha Prityam Varam Vijayan Manyamana Shulam Prakraya Patat Surendram Yata Mahapurusham Kaitavo Apsu. Sukadeva Goswami said, O King Nrpa, desiring to give up his body, Evam Devam Jihasu. Jiha means to give up. Asu means the life. And Prabhupada bring out the mood, the bhavat in his word-to-word meaning also. Vritrasura is very eager to give up his life. And now Vritrasura has tried his best to convince Indra that, this weapon is empowered by Vishnu and it has the austerities of Dajisha. It is infallible. Use it. Still he has doubts. And after hearing the prayers of Vritrasura, understanding his devotion now, how can I kill him? So he is hesitating to perform his duty. And why he is hesitating to perform his duty is because of false ego. Because if he had the true ego of Krishna's servant, but ultimately it was Vishnu who has ordered to kill him. This was a weapon. Vishnu has done that order. To execute that instruction, what is hampering now is false ego. So we will go into this more detail when we come to the fifth verse. So understanding this, desiring to give up the body, eham deyam jihasu, considering manyamana, death in the battle, ajo pratyam, preferable to victory, vijayan varam. Vritrasura took up his trident, Shulam Prakraya, and attacked Lord Indra, Surendram Apyapatam. Just as Kaitav had attacked the Lord when the universe was inundated. Yatha Mahapurusham Kaitavo Apsu. So, as I was mentioning the whole background, how, what is Vritrasura now considering? Now, in order to encourage now Indra to fight, now Indra is not going to, lift the thunderbolt and attack me and kill me. I have to attack him. And why I attack him in order to, as a defense to save himself, then he will attack and kill me. So that's the remedy. So understanding that now he attacks. Vritrasura attacks. Vishwanath Chandra Thakur says that the 12th chapter describes how Indra discouraged by Vritrasura's prowess, becomes enlightened by him and after praising him, kills him. So this will happen now. First of all, he is discouraged, seeing his prowess, and he becomes enlightened. And after becoming enlightened, he doesn't want to kill him. But later on, he will praise and then he'll kill him. Vritrasura prepared for battle again, thinking, bewildered about what to do. He will not kill me. He is not going to kill me. Therefore, showing him my prowess, he will become determined and angry. He will then quickly kill me. Apsu refers to the water of devastation. This is in respect to Madhu and Kaitav. The Kaitav, Vishnu killed Kaitav. So Prabhupada also in the purport brings out this exactly the mood. Although Vritrasura repeatedly encouraged Indra to kill him with a thunderbolt, Indra was morose at having to kill a great devotee and was hesitant to throw it. So he encouraged in the previous chapter we saw. But now, after hearing the praise, he becomes more morose. And this is called as what? This is the lamentation of the ego. Arjuna Vishada Yoga. Ego means the bodily concept of life. So now both these states are there. One is because of, not having the faith in Vishnu's words that this thunderbolt is invincible. And second is now he's more of saying that how can I kill a pure devotee? Vritrasura disappointed that Indra was reluctant despite his encouragement, took the initiative very forcefully by throwing his trident at Indra. So you have seen the trident of Indra, Vritrasura, how huge the trident is in comparison to the mace. Vritrasura was not at all interested in victory. He was interested in being killed so that he would immediately return home back to Godhead. As confirmed in the Bhagavad Gita, Tektva Deham Punarjanma Naiti. After giving up his body, a devotee immediately returns to Lord Krishna and never returns to accept another body. This was Vritrasura's interest. So, in the midst of this battle, where always there is a heavy, influx happening between two dualities. What are the two dualities? Victory and defeat. Jaya Jayo. Vritrasura is Vyavasayatmika Buddhi, aka Kurunanda. That, I am going to die in this battle. That was his determination. And he was fixed in that determination. And he was not getting carried away. Whereas Indra was getting carried away. Because he was absorbed in his own self-consciousness, that is bodily consciousness. So, in the midst of our duties, there will be always events in this upheavals in this world, whether it is with respect to the management of the temple or any other issue. One should be focused that I have to go back home, Godhead, and never get carried away by the upheavals which are happening. Although one might have to deal with it, but he should not absorb his consciousness in such a way that, he loses the focus of being Vyavasayatmika Buddhi, aka Gurunanda. And many examples in the Bhagavatam point out this. Dhruva Maharaj, he was Vyavasayatmika Buddhi, that I want to attain a kingdom greater than my great-grandfather. And when he became determined like this, even Narada could not shake his faith in that. Narada tested him initially. You are a boy, you should not get so much affected by these things. Go back. He said, tell me how I can achieve that. Otherwise, move aside. When Narada saw his determination, then he instructed him in his spiritual instructions how he go. he can practice and then attain that. So that was Dhruva Maharaj's mission. Similarly, Hanuman was Vyavasayatmika Buddhi in order to search Sita, and he was on the way to Lanka. And when he took that, leap, that jump, that time the first demon, who was it? Mainaka, was a mountain. She offered service to Hanuman. You're on a long journey, please take some rest. But Hanuman, he had to, have the etiquette of, that somebody has told. So he just touched the mountain and went ahead. And similarly, Surasa. Nobody can cross until, she has to go through the mouth of Surasa. So Surasa expanded herself. And then Hanuman also expanded himself. And she also expanded. Hanuman also expanded. So this ego, clash of the false ego can keep on expanding. But Hanuman had his mission. So he did not forget that mission. So ultimately, Ari, I have to go ahead. So he became humble and he had to, fulfill that promise. So he went in the mouth and came out. So sometimes within, these dualities of Jaya and Parajaya, Mana and Apmana, we can get caught up in the dualities and start battling with the dualities, and ultimately it will become an ego battle, and the ego battle will keep on expanding. But Hanuman became humble because he was fixed that he has to search Sita. Similarly, Jad Bharat, his father was very inclined that he should learn how to do Achaman, how to do, all the Brahminical duties. But Jad Bharat was completely indifferent. Yadate moha kalilam buddhir veti atitarishati. 2.5 in the Bhagavad Gita. That's how he was fixed. And similarly, Bilva Mangal Thakur. Bilva Mangal Thakur was Vyavasayatmika Buddhi in his goal to reach to Chintamani. And no matter what obstacle came, he just surpassed. And the day his father left, as a duty, he had to, attain that, Anteshti Kriya. And the body was lit on fire, the wood was burning, but in Bilva Mangal Thakur's heart, the fire of separation was burning. And his wife understood that. And she said, at least today don't go. Because all relatives are here. But Bilva Mangal Thakur, ek nahi sunai. Immediately from that place straight he moved ahead. And that day, it was evening, it was raining, there was heavy waves in the river. It was night, pitch dark. He could not cross. There was no boat to cross. But still he was determined. And he saw a plank of wood. And he took that help and somehow crossed the river. By the time it was late night, and then Chintamani had a palace, and there were huge gates, they were closed. And he was banging, but the sound of the thunderbolt and the rain was such heavy that, the sound did not enter inside. Ultimately, he thought, now I have to jump. And then he could not find anything. He saw a rope. He took the rope, help of the rope, and jumped and fell. And because he fell, there was a huge sound. And that is when Chintamani came out. Chintamani was surprised. How did you come in this dark night with such heavy rain? How did you, cross this, wall? She said, I took the help of the rope. And when Chintamani saw it was a snake. Then how did you cross this river? There was a wooden plank, he said, up a log of wood. But when Chintamani went and saw it was a dead corpse. So in his determination to reach Chintamani, although, he could not see that it is a dead corpse, but he saw it as a plank or a wood. He could not see that it is a snake but a rope. Similarly, that same determination, when we have to attain Krishna, no illusions will affect us because we are situated in the self. The illusion is Maya, which is spoken in the Chatushloki Bhagavatam, which we cannot go into now. When one is absorbed, means one is self-realized, he sees that the body is illusion and everything, is illusion. So he is enlightened. So that was Vyavasayatmika Buddhi of Bilvamangal Thakur. So this was the interest of Vritrasura, is so fixed in that. So that is a wonderful lesson we can here see from his life here. Text 2. Text 2, we'll read the translation. Then Vritrasura, the king of the demons, Tato Virya Asurendra. Asurendra means Asura Indra. He was the king of the Asuras, the king of the demons. Whirling his trident, Shulam Avidya. He was whirling his trident, which had sharp tongues of flames from the fire of devastation. Yuga Anta Agni Kataro Jivvam. Jivvam is the fire. And it had that Agni, Katara, Yuga Anta. Just like at the end of the Yuga, Sankarshan from his Jiva, the fire emanates, which devastates all the universes. So that was the trident. Threw it with great force at Indra, Mahendraya Tarasa Shiptva. He rode Rusha with Vinadya Jagada. O sinful one, you have been killed. Hata Asi Papi Iti. So again, we can see the mood of Vritrasura that he knows that he will be killed by Indra, but he is putting his full efforts. He is doing his duty even at a time of death, in this condition also. O sinful one, I shall kill you. Jiva means the flames. Avidya means the he whirled it about. Prabhupada doesn't give any purport. Fearlessly, Ajata Viklava, Indra, Vajri. Indra is addressed here as Vajri. Vajri means one who is holding the Vajra. Seeing the trident, Tad Niraksha, unbearable to behold, Dushpreksham, rotating in the sky, Kha Vichalat, and approaching him like a comet. Apatat Graha Ulkavat, destroyed it. Achinnad, with his thunderbolt made of 100 bones. Shata Parvana Vajrena, and also cut off one of Vritrasura's snake-like arms. Tasya Uruga Raja Bhogam Bhujam Char. So now Vritrasura understood that as long as I don't attack, he's not going to kill me. So he hurled his trident, and seeing this trident coming, whirling and coming, Indra now was, he had to protect himself. Now he is doing his duty not based on the desire of the Lord, but duty based on his svabhava. That is to protect his body. He's doing his duty, just out of fear to protect his body. So he's still not acting on the platform of Sarvadharman Paritejya. That's the difference between Vritrasura and Indra here. And, he destroyed this Trishula with his thunderbolt, and he cut off Vritrasura's snake-like arms. So the arms of Vritrasura are compared to the what? Vasuki. The snake Vasuki. So you can imagine how big is Mandarachal mountain. Okay, firstly. And sometimes that bigger the diameter, and you need to pull it with a rope, bigger will be the size of the rope. So what must be the size of Vasuki? And not only that size to pull, or to churn the mountain, on both the sides there are devas and danavas, asuras, and they are very strong. So there are chances that the rope might cut, right? Right? We have this experience in Rath Yatra, Jagannath Yatra, So you can imagine the size of the snake, Vasuki. That was the size of the arms of Vritrasura. So that Tasya Urghaya Rajabhojam Bhogam Bhujam Cha. So that's what, you know, Apatat means coming towards. Text 4. I'll just read the translation. Although one of his arms was severed from his body, Chinna Ekabahu, so one of the arms was cut off. Vritrasura angrily approached King Indra. Vrita Sambrabdha Indram Asadya, who was holding his thunderbolt, Grihita Vajram, and struck him on the edge of his cheek. Hano Tatada, with his iron mace. Pari Ghenam. He also struck the elephant that carried Indra. Ata Amara Ibhyam. Ibhyam is the elephant. Thus Indra dropped the thunderbolt from his hand. Vajram cha astan nyapatat megano. Megano is Indra. So now one of his arm is cut, and yet, Vritrasura approached Indra, who was holding that thunderbolt, and struck him on the edge of his cheek. He struck on his edge of cheek with an iron mace. At the same time, he struck the elephant Airavat, and then Indra dropped the thunderbolt from his hand. Now, here the very interesting scenario comes in. Hano means the edge of his cheek. That's what only Vishwanath Thakur says. Prabhupada doesn't give a purport. Now, let us recite this verse. Vritasya karmati mahatputam tat Surasuracharan siddha sangha apujayam tat puruhut sankatam nirikshasya heti vichakrushur prasham. The Devatas, demons, Charanas and Siddhas. Sura, Asura, Charana, Siddha, Sangha. Praise, Pujayan. They started praising who? Vritrasura. They praised Vritrasura's astonishing deed. Vritasya tad ati maha adbhutam karma. His extreme valor, even in this situation is. But seeing Indra's danger, tat puruhut sankatam niriksha, they greatly lamented. Alas, alas, ha ha iti prasham, we chukshushur. They started lamenting, the condition of now. Both Indra and, they also praised Vritrasura. They lamented for Indra and praised Vritrasura. Now, what has happened in this scenario now? Indra has dropped his thunderbolt. And Indra is now feeling, how can I lift the thunderbolt back? He's feeling a little ashamed to do that. I am a Kshatriya, It's demeaning for me to, lift the thunderbolt which has fallen now. So this is expressed in this next verse, which we'll recite. Indro navajram jagre vilajjata Shrutam swahastan harisannidho puna Tamahamrito har atyavajro Jahi swashatrum na vishad kala. Ashamed, Vilajata, Indra did not retrieve the thunderbolt. Indra Vajram na Chakre. Like Chakre Paurisham Rupam Bhagavad Bhadadivi. The Lord accepted the form of the Purusha avatars. In first canto, third chapter, first verse it is mentioned. So Indra was, hesitant or feeling ashamed to accept back again the thunderbolt, which had fallen from his hand, Swahasta Chutam, in the presence of his enemy. Hari Sando. Vitrasura spoke again. Now Vitrasura could understand this now. He could understand the emotions which were going on in Indra's heart. He could understand that. So that's why Vitrasura spoke again. Vritra Puna Tam Aha. O Indra, take up your thunderbolt. Atha Vajro and kill your enemy. Jahi, Jahi means to kill. Shwashatru. This is not the time for lamentation. No Vishada Kalaha. So, what is the consciousness of Indra here at this point? Is that I am a Kshatriya. How can I lift, this weapon, that is, not, befitting me as a Kshatriya. So he's identifying himself in the bodily consciousness. Whereas if he was free from false ego, he would do the desire of Vishnu. Because ultimately it is the desire of Vishnu that I should use this thunderbolt to kill Dhritarashtra. But he is not ready to do that act. Because still he is acting on the bodily consciousness. So accepting the will of Krishna, although we regularly quote this verse, Sarva Dharman Parityajya, but it's a very, very exalted platform and exalted level of consciousness. Sarva Dharman Parityajya, Mam Ekam Sharanam. You have to make, Krishna's will as the number one, criteria in your life and do accordingly. But sometimes what happens? We, out of false ego, make that number 3 or number 4 and not keep it number 1. Suppose 2 devotees have been doing service together and they have some clash. And moment there is a clash, what is the consciousness? That now I will not perform my duty because of the clash. This is a general tendency seen in conditioned souls. Yes or no? Because of this clash, now I'm not going to perform my duty. I'm going to withdraw myself. So this is acting based on false ego. Based on false ego. I'll not perform my duty. And this is very deep rooted in the consciousness of the conditioned soul. And it's not so easy. That because I have this tension and friction with you, I will not perform my duty. But if we have the consciousness that, it is Krishna's will I have to execute, you will be humble and you will do anything. And we see the example of Mother Sita. She's the most chaste lady in the universe, and she went through such torture because of Ravana's atrocities for that 1 year. And at last, after this battle is won, she is now uniting with her husband back. And moment she comes, what does Lord Ram say? You have stayed in somebody else's house, I cannot accept you. Such a heavy statement, And not only that, if you want, you can take somebody else's shelter. And Sita had to go to that fire test. So to execute the desire of the Lord, the false ego is the main obstacle. But one who is executing the desire of the Lord, He doesn't mind in what circumstances, what, is a particular instance, he will not act according to the dictations of false ego. He says, Hare, now I am being a Kshatriya, a weapon which has fallen, I can lift it back in front of my, that too, enemy. That's the consciousness of Indra. I'll just come back, I'll just finish this. I remember many years back, I had just joined the temple and I was in the kitchen serving. I was told to cook. And another brahmachari was part of, after the cooking is done, the cleaning. And, after you clean and at the outlet where all the waste goes away, that's quite dirty place, right? Yes or no? It's quite a dirty place. And sometimes we hesitate to put our hand and clean it. And that time, our Maharaj was passing by and he just saw that and he went and with his hand cleaned it. My goodness. Can you imagine this? He could understand that he was hesitating with brahmachari. This is way back in 2002, this incident happened. He just did not hesitate. He just went and cleaned and then left without informing anything, without saying a word, anything. Because, when we see that something is unclean externally, and you're hesitating, that means you are very much unclean internally. That's what it means. And we see, man, apaman, the devotee, pure devotee is not considered. Parikshit Maharaj, in 7 days, he is the king of this entire Chakravarti Samrat. And he is cursed by a Brahmana, a simple boy, 5-year-old boy. How humiliating it is to be cursed by a 5-year-old boy to die in 7 days. You would have said, at least on the battlefield, if it had died, it would be better. But, such a insulting that a 5-year-old boy is cursing you to die in 7 days. How did Parikshit Maharaj accept it? He accepted it as a will of the Lord. Because even in the womb, the most powerful weapon in this universe, the Brahmastra, which can destroy everything, but Krishna protected it. That also happened by the will of the Lord. So Parikshit Maharaj, right from his birth, had this consciousness that it is only by the will of the Lord one has to act. So he was free from false ego. That's why, he did not mind the external circumstances. Array, just a 5-year-old boy has cursed me. And what is this? Just for a small incident. Just that I put a dead snake on his father's neck. For a small incident, such a heavy punishment. Oh, this is injustice. Moment you say this is injustice, what it means? You are acting on the platform of falsehood. But how did Parikshit Maharaj, accept it? He accepted it as the will of the Lord and just retired. So here we can see the difference in the consciousness of Indra and Vritrasura. It's a complete paradigm shift in the consciousness. So this is what we can understand from this whole discussion here. So I think we'll have to stop here. You have any questions about up till now what we have discussed? Or let's see if we can take a few more verses. Other verses are all quite simple. Yeah. Yes, Prabhuji.
In the
Mike.
Does it have bar force to not let the weapon once it is put down, or it is due to false ego?
It is due to false ego he is feeling. Actually, as a Kshatriya code also, you have to have a weapon and then only, there is a fight. But here the consciousness of Indra is, how I should lift the weapon in front of my enemy. That is too demeaning for me. It's too, it's too insulting for me, as a which is fallen weapon to lift it. No? So somebody is on a very exalted, material position to do something which is really humble, to bow down also is not so easy. So that humility is when you are free from the false ego. So he was acting on the bodily consciousness and he was evaluating, that's why. And Vritrasura could understand that, and that's why he's encouraging here. That's the point. Is it clear? Yes, Prabhuji.
Like the Surgut lift that.
For the push.
Vritrasura could lift that thunderbolt. He said. Vritrasura could lift that thunderbolt and give it to Indra. I don't know. I have to say that, our devotees should be trained in, Vedic thought, which is called as darshan. Darshan means the right way to think. How to think in the right way, systematic way. That is what darshan prepares us. First, let me complete. Try to understand what I'm trying to say. Try to understand first. We have to be trained to think systematically. And that's what darshan prepares us. How to think, systematically. When Krishna says, Rasom Apsu Kaunteya, I am the taste of the water, so we have to figure out how Krishna is the taste of the water, how we can experience Krishna in the taste of water. Of course, in the city you cannot experience that, but we actually drink Jharna water. When you drink the Jharna water, you will actually experience it as nectar. And that, that experience of that Anand is a minute experience of, the what? Anandamaya Purusha. That's how we connect to Krishna. But on the other hand, if you start thinking how Krishna is not the taste of the water, and something else, the taste of the water is not coming from the water, but maybe from the chemicals. This is what the scientists think, So we have to be logically trained, philosophically trained to how to think, from the right angle or right perspective. That's the point. Are you getting this point now? Instead of other way, why? Vritrasura should have not. Okay, yes, Prabhu. Mike. Okay, no.
You said in the past, like most of the time we are thinking on what is it like falsehood, and we hesitate to act. Like at that time, how to think that means Lord want us to act. Means it is the will of the Lord.
Yeah, basically we have to act as per the directions of Guru and sadhus, and it will be always according to Shastra. So to do our duties when, generally our general duties what are given, at that time it's not so much of a problem. But when it's a difficult duty, and then that time we'll be tested. What if, something happens to me? There is fear of, what will happen to my life, But ultimately, if we have faith, Krishna will protect. So like that time will be really tested. It's not, when there is a dharma sankata, and same Vishad Yoga, Vishadam na Vishada Kale, this is not the time for lamentation. Vritrasura saying. So Arjuna, at that particular time when he has to fight this dharma yuddha, he went into Vishada. It was not the time for Vishada. But again, he acted like this by the will of the Lord. Because he says, how can I kill my own relatives? Because if I kill my own relatives, then whom will I enjoy with. That was his thought. So this bodily consciousness is there. So it's gradual process of Krishna consciousness to, act as per the Lord's desire. Now we don't know what the Lord's desire is, but we have to follow the instructions of the spiritual master, our authorities, and then gradually gradually it will happen. Is it okay?
As you said that maybe normal
Mm. Yes,
at times it's very hard to think.
yes, because the false ego is very strong. It's very, very deep rooted. And sometimes it takes years to come out of it. Takes years. It's okay. Yes, Prabhu.
Thank you so much for wonderful answer. Because in this case, this Indra, he was told that you should kill Uttarasan with Lord's instruction. And they end up killing also. And later this same personified come to him. So in that case, what would be the Indra would be a very pure duty, proper duty. What he could have done? No, like if that sin should not have come because it was Lord's desire, still sin comes. So what should be having the proper action?
Come again, what you're trying to exactly say. Can you come again? Let him come again.
But in this case, it was Lord's desire. You should kill Uttarasan. And Indra was a bodily battle. He was not properly as a devotee. And he still he killed. And because of that, sin personified comes. Which comes.
No, you're asking two different things. Just stick to one thing first. Forget the sin coming part. That will, we'll be discussing in the next chapter. I'll come to that also, but just stick to that one part. Here you have to understand. I'm trying to catch your question. Here we have to try to understand that ultimately it is not the Lord's desire first. Indra has a desire to maintain his position, and that's why he approached Vishnu, right? He approached Vishnu, right? So it was not Nishkama Bhakti, it was Sakama Bhakti, right? And then Vishnu gave the solution, right? That ultimately this threat has come. In order to maintain position, you will have to kill him. And he's very powerful. Use the bones of Dadiji. And don't worry. Indra, Bhadrasura is my devotee, he will not harm you. Even that he had assured, but still Indra had doubt. So this is the first aspect you have to understand. But ultimately, yes, as part of the cosmic administration, the devatas have to be ruling. That is also there. But we have to understand that here, that ultimately the approach of Indra to Vishnu, also because he had to maintain his position. That was there. And it has come out yesterday also, we saw that. And today also in the next coming verses it will come up. Now, secondly, regarding the aspect of, yes, sinful reactions, generally the karma, it operates on earth or Bhumandal, you can say. For every action there is reaction. In the higher planets, even if Indra, enjoys the apsaras, there's no reaction. It doesn't get any effect. But if he commits a Vaishnava Aparadh, then he also has to suffer the consequences. And we saw that, with respect to Brahaspati. And now Vishwarup is facing the reaction now, and now he's going to kill a pure devotee like Tarasana. That reaction will come. So generally, for even the upper and the lower, in the upper you only reap the fruits of your karma. In the lower also you will also reap, means you suffer. Karma doesn't operate, but only the Manushya Loki. karma, which is that verse in the Bhagavad Gita, chapter verse 2, I think. अधश्च चोर्ध्वं प्रसुप्तस्य साका गुणप्रवृत्त विषय प्रबाल अधश्च मूलानि अनुसंधितानि कर्मानुबंधिनी karma, operating circumference is, it's completely, working in the Manushya Loke. Manushya Loke. It doesn't mean that it doesn't operate there. It is operating everywhere in the universe, but the effect, as it, you get that reaction here immediately, that action, and there has to be a reaction. That is fully operating. So, although Indra is doing his duty as appointed demigod, but still, because of committing a heinous act of killing a Vaishnava, he has to undergo the reaction. He has to undergo the reaction. Similarly, if you see, Indra expanded himself and his Shakti, along with the Shakti, came along with whom? Arjuna, because Arjuna is considered son of Indra. But Indra was in a seat there. But by his expansion Shakti, he was present with even Arjuna. But when he committed a aparadh against Brahaspati, then he lost his post there. And now when he commits the sin of killing, then he has to leave his post and he has to go and suffer the reaction for it. So that is a deeper lesson also we should learn. But what are the repercussions of Vaishnava Aparadh? Is it okay?
It's like what he should have done. This is Indra. So he has to take an action. What action he should have taken as a proper devotee?
But Indra is not considered here as a pure devotee.
In a scenario. How would have she acted?
See the whole pastime, you have to see the whole pastime. The whole pastime where it is happening here, according to the desire of Indra and the desire of Vritrasura, this pastime is enacted. Now, when you say that, according to this, if Indra is a pure devotee, then the whole pastime would be different. Right? You are getting the point. Is it clear? No. So based on Krishna mentions, Prabhupada mentions, Ye yata ma prapadyante tam satam bhajamya. Vritrasura's desire was he has to go back to Godhead, and Indra has a desire to attain back his heavenly post. So based on their respective desires, Krishna is fulfilling through this pastime. So in that case scenario, then we'll have to find a case law of what is the pastime now. Right now, I'm not able to recollect, any pastime which is like this. Bhagavatam. Is it okay or no? I'll think about it, but still. Yes.
Clarification that I made a very nice statement. When we see uncleanliness, hesitant. Just wanted to clarify that hesitation is an uncleanness within, or no action after that. That is uncleanness within.
That's what I'm trying to understand.
Uncleanliness. When we see the uncleanliness, so the hesitation comes. Is that uncleanliness or the no further action after seeing the uncleanness is the uncleanness?
No. Come
Within,
again.
when we see the dirt, contamination,
Externally.
we feel externally, we feel some hesitation.
We feel hesitation.
Is that hesitation is uncleanness within?
Hesitation is uncleanness or
Further action taken That is uncleanness within us.
Okay, I got it. I got it. Basically, both are signs. Because tamas means what, Dirgha Sutri, procrastination. I have to clean this, I know, but I'll बाद में करेंगे. You don't immediately act. And that hesitation is also because of the tamas within. The dirt is there, tama. It's a sign of tama, not to act immediately. So both are the same signs. To hesitate also, array, this is dirty, so dirty. Because we see, in our consciousness, it is dirt. But by cleaning that, my heart will be clean. We don't see like that. And we see that dirt and we don't act. That's also because of tamas. To procrastinate, Dirghasukri, as Krishna mentions in the 18th chapter. We procrastinate. I have to do that duty of cleaning, but I keep on postponing it. That's also a sign. Both in one sense. Did you get it? Okay. ग्रंथराज श्रीमद् भागवतम की जय, श्रील प्रभुपाद की जय, अनंत कोटि वैष्णव वृंद की जय, वांछा कल्पतरुभ्यश्च कृपा सिंधुभ्यो